A generation which ignores history has no past and no future. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Romel Isis Bremio, together with my analysis sisters and two great historians that we will encounter later on. And welcome to Chit Chat with Romel. Once again, good day to the both of you, Miss Philomena and Miss Vivian. How are you today?
My day is fine.
Yes, that's good to be here.
I'm ecstatic because I am given a chance to be here in your show.
Alright, so you're also welcome to this show. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to reveal what really happened during the Kartilya ng Katipunan or the KKK and what or who is Emilio Jacinto. We will be right back after this advertisement.
What is history? History is narrative. From chaos comes order. History is a study of change over time, and it covers all the aspects of human society.
And we are back. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to know what really happens during the revolution of Andres Bonifacio and together with Emilio Jacinto. Alright, so first, before we proceed to the Kartilya ng Katipunan, let us first know who is Emilio Jacinto. So, Miss Philomena will answer about Emilio Jacinto. My question first, ma'am, is who is Emilio Jacinto?
So, Emilio Jacinto E. Dizon was a Filipino general in the Philippine Revolution, and he is one of the most highest ranking Filipino in that history.
Thank you so much for that information, ma'am. Today, at this juncture, we are about to know what really happens during the Katipunan days, and of course, we need to know what is the life of Emilio Jacinto, and that will be answered by Miss Philomena Renomeron. What is the life of Mr. Emilio Jacinto?
So, Emilio Jacinto was born in Rozo, Manila in December 15, 1875. When his father, Mariano Jacinto, died, his mother, Josefina Dizon, a midwife, had to work harder for his studies. Later, he was forced to live with his uncle, who is Don Jose Dizon. So, he enrolled him at San Juan de Letran. And then later on, he transferred in University of Santo Tomas. So, he studies law, of course, and also he joined Katipunan at the start of Philippine Revolution in 1896. And did you know that Emilio Jacinto was also a poet? Okay, sorry. And his greatest poem is A la Patria.
A la Patria.
So, inspired by Rizal.
Okay.
And Rizal's Ultimos Adios. So, but in a sad, Emilio Jacinto died because of malaria.
Alright, thank you so much for that information, Ma'am Philomena. And that is the life of Emilio Jacinto. And later on, ladies and gentlemen, we will know what happened during the Kartilya ng Katipunan after this.
An example of Philippine history. An example of Philippine history is the KKK, which means taas-taasan, kagalang-galang, katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan.
We're back again, ladies and gentlemen. We have here our another historian, which is Miss Vivian Romano, which will talk about what really happened during the Katipunan. So first, what is KKK?
Okay, so KKK or kataas-taasang, kagalang-galangang, katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan is arguably the most important organization formed in the Philippine history.
Why does it become the most important organization in revolution of the Philippine history?
It became the most important in the Philippine history because it was only this organization that envisioned a united Filipino nation that would revolt against the Spaniards
for the total independence of the country from Spain.
Thank you so much for that information, ma'am. And then we have another question. So, ma'am, my another question is that Katipunan created a complex structure and a defined value system that would guide the organization as a collective aspiring for a single goal. What is the most important document during the Katipunan days?
Okay, so one of the most important Katipunan documents was the Kartilya ng Katipunan.
Alright, so what is the Kartilya ng Katipunan means?
Okay, so the original title of the document was Mga Aral ng Katipunan ng mga A and B or Anak ng Bayan.
Okay, so in English it is or the lessons of the organizations
Yes.
of the sons of country. So I have heard that this document was written by
Emilio Jacinto
in what year?
in the year of 1896.
Alright, so Jacinto was only 18 years old, am I right?
Yes.
During that time and he joined the movement. So why does he join or how does he join that kind of movement?
Okay, so back to his days, Jacinto was only 18 years old when he joined the movement.
Yes.
So he was a law student at the Universidad de Santo Tomas, and despite his youth, Bonifacio recognized the value and intellect of Jacinto that upon seeing that Jacinto's Kartilya was much better than the Decalogue he wrote.
Alright, so he willingly favored that the Kartilya be distributed to their fellow Katipuneros. So Jacinto became the secretary of the organization, am I right? Can you
Yes.
confirm that, miss? And took charge of the short-lived printing press of the Katipunan on 16th April 1897. Am I
Yes.
right, miss? Thank you so much for that information. Alright, so I have here also the document which states that Bonifacio appointed Jacinto as a commander of the Katipunan in northern Luzon. So Jacinto was 22 years old. Can you
Yes.
confirm that, miss?
Yes.
Alright, thank you so much. He died of malaria. So as what have Miss Philomena said a while ago that he died, it's because of malaria at the age of 24 in the town of Magdalena, Laguna. So the Kartilya can be treated as the Katipunan's code of conduct. So it contains 14 rules that instructs the way a Katipunero should behave. So I don't really know what are the 14 rules of the Kartilya, but these two historians, I believe that they know the 14 rules of Katipunan. So here are the 14 rules that will be given to us by the two great historians. Rules of Katipunan. So Miss Vivian?
So here are the rules or batas in Kartilya ng Katipunan. So una, ang buhay na hindi inilaan sa matayog at makatwirang layunin ay isang punong walang lilim kung hindi isang makamandag na damo. Ikalawa, ang paggawa ng mabuti para sa pansariling pakinabang at hindi para sa sarili nitong kapakanan ay hindi kabutihan. Ikatlo, makatwiran ang pagiging mapagkawanggawa at mahalin ang kapwa nilalang at ibigay ang pag-uugali, kilos at salita ng isang tao sa kung ano mismo ang makatwiran. Ikaapat, maitim man o maputi ang ating balat, lahat tayo ay pinanganak na pantay-pantay. Higit na mataas sa kaalaman, kayamanan at kagandahan ang dapat na maunawaan, ngunit hindi higit sa likas na katangian. So ikalima, mas pinipili ng taong marangal ang dangal kaysa pansariling pakinabang, ang hamak makakuha ng karangalan. Ika-anim, para sa marangal na tao, ang kanyang salita ay sagrado. Ikapito, huwag mong sayangin ang iyong oras, ang kayamanan ay maaaring mabawi, ngunit hindi oras na mawala.
Ikawalo?
Ikawalo, ipagtanggol mo ang inaapi, kabakahin ang umaapi. Ikasiyam, ang taong matalino'y ay may pag-iingat sa bawat sasabihin at matutong ipaglihim ang dapat ipaglihim. Ikasampo, sa daang matinik ng kabuhayan, lalaki ay siyang patugot ng asawa at mga anak. Kung ang umaakay ay tungo sa masama, ang pagtutunguhan ng inaakay ay kasamaan din. 11, Ang babae ay huwag mong tignan isang bagay na libangan lamang, kundi isang katuwang at karamay sa mga kahirapan nitong kabuhayan. Gamitin mo ng buong pagpipigtagan ang kaniyang kahinaan at alalahanin ang inang pinagbuhatan at nagiwi sa iyong kasanggulan. 12. Ang di mo ibig na gawin sa asawa mo, anak at kapatid, ay huwag mong gagawin sa asawa, anak at kapatid ng iba. 13. Ang kamahalan ng tao'y wala sa kapangyarihan, wala sa tangos ng ilong at puti ng mukha, wala sa pagkaparing kahalili ng Diyos, wala sa mataas na kalagayan sa balat ng lupa. 14. Paglagalap ng mga aral na ito at maningning na sumisikat ang araw ng mahal na kalayaan dito sa kaabang-abang sangkapuluan at sa bugan ng matamis niyang liwanag ang isang magkalalahit, magkakapatid at maligayang walang katapusan. Huli, paglagalap ng mga aral na ito at maningning na sumisikat ang araw ng mahal na kalayaan dito sa kaabang-abang sangkapuluan at sa bugan ng matamis niyang liwanag ang isang magkakalahit, magkakapatid na ligayang walang katapusan. Ang mga ginugol na buhay, pagod at mga tiniis na kahirapay labis ng natumbasan.
Alright, so those are the 14 rules of Katipunan. Thank you so much, Miss Vivian and Miss Philomena. So, to generalize everyone, that as the primary document which determines the rules of conduct in Katipunan, properly understanding the Kartilya will thus help in understanding the values, ideas, aspirations, and even the ideology of the organization. Once again, thank you so much to our great historians for being us here. Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation for us to become more knowledgeable and more have enough knowledge to this kind of discussion. So once again, thank you and God bless us. All right, now that we already knew what really happens during the Katipunan and what does the document of the Kartilya ng Katipunan and who is Emilio Jacinto, now it's time for our analysis sisters on their analyzations to our discussion. Let's start with Miss Stephanie Sapotalo on her analysis.
So my analysis about the Kataas-Taasan, Kagalang-Galangan Katipunan ng Anak ng Bayan or also ng KKK was a revolutionary society founded in the Philippines in 1892. It played a vital role in the fight for Philippine independence from Spanish colonial rule.
So the Kartilya emphasized several key themes. First and foremost is nationalism or love for one's country. It calls for Filipinos to unite and work towards the liberation and independence of the Philippines, fostering a sense of national identity and pride. So the Kartilya also emphasized various virtues and values that members of the Katipunan should uphold. These include honesty, integrity, humility, selfishness, and self-discipline. It calls for members to lead a virtuous life and prioritize the welfare of the community over personal gain.
In addition to similar what we have done to the accounts of Pigafetta, this primary source also needs to be analyzed in terms of content and context. As a document written for a fraternity whose main purpose is to overthrow a colonial regime, we can explain the content and provisions of the Kartilya as a reaction and response to certain value systems that they found despicable in the present state of things that they have struggled against with. For example, the 4th and the 13th rules in the Kartilya are an invocation of the inherent equality between and among men regardless of race, occupation, or status. In the context of the Spanish colonial era, where the Indios were treated as the inferior of the white Europeans, the Katipunan saw it to that the alternative order that they wished to promulgate through their revolution necessarily destroy this kind of unjust hierarchy.
Moreover, one can analyze the values upheld in the document as consistent with the foregoing national and liberal ideals in the 18th and 19th century. Equality, tolerance, freedom, and liberty were values that first emerged in the 18th century French Revolution, which spread throughout Europe and reached the educated class of the colonies. Jacinto, an Ilustrado himself, certainly got an understanding of these values. Aside from the liberal values that can be dissected in the document, we can also decipher certain Victorian and chivalrous values in the text. For example, various provisions in the Kartilya repeatedly emphasize the importance of honor in words and in action. The teaching of the Katipunan on how women should be treated with honor and respect, while positive in many respects and certainly a significant stride from the practice of raping and physically abusing women, can still be telling the Katipunan secondary regard for women in relation to men. For example, in the 10th rule, the document is specifically stated that men should be the guide of women and children and that he should set a good example. Otherwise, the women and the children would be guided in the path of evil. Nevertheless, the same document stated that women should be treated as companions by men and not as playing that can be exploited for their pleasure. All in all, proper reading of the Kartilya will reveal a more thorough understanding of the Katipunan and the significant role that it played in the revolution and in the upholding of the Philippine history as we know it. Okay, thank you.
Alright, thank you so much to our analysis sisters. Let us all give them a round of applause. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back.
What is the importance of history?
History provides us with the data that is used to create laws or theories about various aspects of society.
Studying history allows us to observe and understand how people and societies behave.
And again, we are back. Thank you so much. We still have here our two great historians, Miss Philomena Rinomiron, Miss Vivian Romano, and of course our analysis sisters. Let us all give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for again accepting my invite here. So this has been Romel Isis Branyo together with my colleagues, now signing off. Thank you and God bless us all.